Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Devil's Den Hockey. And tonight, the New Jersey Devils defeat the Ottawa Senators 3-1 in regulation. And I know that this is something that a lot of people have been saying, and even I have said it, even in the last 6 games or so. But this is one of the Devils' most complete wins this entire season. I mean, and again, I know we're only 7 games in. I understand that. But they looked so good tonight. They looked so freaking good. And I mean, everything was firing on all cylinders. Goaltending by Markstrom was incredible tonight, coming up with some of the biggest saves that he's made so far this year, including a split save where he has to go from one side of the crease to the other, making a cross-crease split save to the defense, who I think played fantastically in front of Markstrom, clearing the front of the net, clearing pucks away, breaking up passes, making turnovers, forcing the checks, finishing the checks, and the forwards who had every opportunity to score and took advantage of it. From the second line, the third line, and the fourth line, coming all of our goals. From the second line, Paul Cotter continues his goal-scoring, not streak, but hotness from game from the beginning of the series. Eric Haula getting his goal from the third line, and then you got guys like Nate Bastian scoring his first goal of the season. So that's goals from your second line, your third line, your fourth line. These guys look so freaking good tonight. And it was funny. I was sitting there watching the game tonight, and I'm watching Markstrom perform, and I'm watching the defense perform, and I'm watching the forwards we knew from last year. Even the forwards last year were still pretty good, right? You got guys like Brett making, having 80-something point seasons, even in a season where the Devils look like crap all around. But how nice it is, and again, and I'm going to keep doing this throughout the year, comparing this year to last year, how nice it is to feel like you can trust in the Devils' defense, that you can trust in the Devils' goaltending, and not feel like you're having anxiety every single time the puck goes into our own end. Our defense looks so good, and I don't know how Keith and Fitzgerald are going to work this out when Luke Hughes and Pesci come back on the scene, because Dylan, I think, had a great night tonight. He had a couple of outstanding blocks on defense. I think that Seamus Casey has been great so far. I think that Siegenthaler has upped his play from last year. Nemetz feels like maybe there's a little bit of a downhill, but I don't even think his play is necessarily the worst thing in the world right now. Our defense is so solid, and our goaltending, what a difference. What a difference from last year. Vitek Vanacek was had more holes in him than certain types of cheese, okay? Couldn't stop a beach ball by the end of the year. Schmid being hung out to dry. Dawes being hung out to dry. Vanacek being hung out to dry. No one being able to make a save. And then you've got Allen and Markstrom, who are playing so freaking well, man. It's so nice to see, and I'm so happy that we get to see a Devils team which is so consistent all of the time so far. We'll see what happens the rest of the year. Or even, I'm interested to see how they go over the first 20 games of the year. Because right now we're approaching, this is our 7th game of the year. We're approaching the 10th game of the year, and that's going to be coming up by the end of next week. So that's going to be crazy. So we'll see what happens over the next 10 to 13 games. See how the Devils continue to progress. See if that consistency can be there. Again, this is a team. This is the Ottawa Senators, who did not play Ullmark tonight. They played Forsberg instead, so I was expecting a little bit more offense coming from the Devils in comparison to having Ullmark in. But overall, again, I think they played well. I am slightly ticked, just kind of a little bit, then Markstrom didn't get the shutout tonight, because again, he played so well and he had earned that shutout, okay? He had played so well all night, facing 30 plus shots. Guy played great. They ended up slipping one past Markstrom very, 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 very late. I think it was like the dying, like last minute of the third period. And they end up getting a double screen by Siegenthaler and Tkachuk. It goes off Tkachuk's leg and redirects into the net. Poor Markstrom, because he played so frigging well. I don't know. There's not like a whole lot for me to talk about this game. There was no flashy, crazy goals. There wasn't like one guy kind of put the team on his back and carried them. It was an all around great effort by every single facet of the game. Again, from forwards getting goals, from your second line, your third line, your fourth line, the defense playing so freaking well in terms of blocking shots, clearing guys out in front of the net, finishing checks, fighting in the corners, everything, to the goaltending. Markstrom standing on his head again last night. But there is one thing I want to bring up. About tonight's game. Well, not even about tonight's game, just the last couple of games in particular. Now, I understand the value of having really flashy guys on your team. So having guys like Brad on your team, having guys like Hischier on your team, having guys like Hughes on your team, having a Matthews or a McDavid or a Draisaitl or a Stamkos or a Hedman, right? Guys that are flashy, that are going to put up like 80 to 110 points a season. I get how important they are and how valuable they are to a team. But there's another part of the game which I feel like doesn't get recognized enough in comparison to those kind of flashy, 80 to 110 point players per season. And it's the guys which grind their asses out every single game, who play 82 games a year, who maybe don't get like a whole lot of points. Maybe they only get like 40 to 50 points a year. But they are there busting their ass every single shift and giving it their 110%. And they sort of fall to the background while the more flashy guys rack up all the goals and rack up all the points. And I think for our team, that's got to be Dawson Mercer. I have been so freaking impressed with Dawson Mercer's work ethic the last couple of games. He is giving it 110% on every single shift. You should watch this guy. He turns the puck over and he's hunting down the guy who he just had the puck taken from him, hunting him down and not giving up on the puck battle until he's regained the puck again. He let's say he's going up with an offensive rush because he's such a versatile player. He plays the both sides of the puck, in my opinion, really frigging well in terms of positioning and knowing where he has to be at any given moment. And it's not to say that Mercer is perfect. He's not, right? He's still young. He's still got time to progress. Again, maybe he'll get more points in the future. I think right now he's averaging about like 45 to 55 points a season, which again isn't terrible. He's a nice depth piece, but his work ethic, I think, deserves to be drawn attention to. I think you have guys like Dawson Mercer on the Devils. I think you've got guys like Mitch Marner on the Leafs. I think you've got guys. Who was it? I can't think of the name off the top of the head, but every team has one of these guys which busts their ass and works so incredibly hard over a long span of games. And again, they're not the most flashy players in the world, but they're in the corners digging for the puck. They're grinding away every single time. I think one of the things the Devils have that a lot of teams don't have is that they have like several of these guys. For us, it's Dawson Mercer and it's Nico freaking Hischier. That is a guy who leads by example every single game. He takes a hit to make a play. He's grinding in the corners. He's great on the defensive side of the puck. There's a reason why Hischier is one of these guys that ends up in like Selke conversations every single year, except for last year. We don't talk about last year. But like he's so good and he gives a damn every single time he steps out on the ice. Again, they're not the most flashy players in the world. They're not going to be deking their way and breaking ankles on their way to the net to score, 50, 60 goals goals a season, but they're guys that give absolutely every single thing that they have to offer, and then they keep going after that. Yeah, I just wanted to get that out there because I feel like these kind of guys do not get enough credit in our current NHL. It's always about guys who score goals. It's always about guys which get points, and it's all about like goaltenders who like will get shutouts and stuff, or have like 960 save percentages. I don't know. I feel like the NHL does not do enough. Does not give enough credit, and that's not the NHL as an organization, but the NHL as like we as fans are part of the NHL, right? We're the reason why these guys go on the ice and play hockey, right? Because they know the fans will come and see and watch and cheer and support, right? So we are just as much a part of the NHL as any other part, right? So like, I feel like as fans we don't give enough credit to these guys, and they should get way more credit. But yeah, anyways, I think that's gonna wrap it up. Main takeaway from here is Devils played fan-freaking-tastic. They win. They get another 2 points against the Ottawa Senators, and we move on to this weekend where I believe we are playing the Washington Capitals this weekend. I can't remember if it's Saturday or Sunday, but we play them one of those two days. Before I forget, make sure this Tuesday we are playing the Tampa Bay Lightning Tuesday evening. We will be doing another live stream at the during that game. There will be a Devil's Den immediately following that game against Tampa Bay Lightning, but we will be doing a live stream. It's usually between 2.5 to 3 hours, so come on by, join the fun. We had so much fun in our last live stream, guys. We met a lot of new people, more people than at any given time have joined our little Devil's Den hockey community, family, however way we want to put it, group. And yeah, Tuesday night, Tampa Bay Lightning. We will be streaming as the game is starting. We might stream 15 minutes beforehand, and we'll be streaming my live reaction to the entirety of the game. I'm so hoping that you guys are able to come out, to join, to support. We'll have some fun Tuesday night. And yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up here, guys. I will see you in the next one. Adios.